As humans, we were wired to be adaptive, resilient, and anti-fragile. So today, to close off the nervous system regulation series, we're talking about the state where we are regulated, which is the ventral vagal state. And this state is something that we want to strive to be in most of our days. And note how I said most of our days. It is absolutely okay to feel dysregulation during the day. It's actually quite typical and normal to have some dysregulation throughout the day. It is a sign that our internal surveillance system is working. And so when we do have the points of dysregulation or times and moments of dysregulation, the important thing is that we don't get stuck there and instead we go back to this ventral vagal state, which is really when you're in this state, it feels like you are truly connected to who you are. Like you have that knowing that, yes, this is exactly me. I am crushing it. And you are hearing that inner wisdom very, very clearly, where your thoughts are super clear. You are able to focus and make decisions very quickly, even though they might have that slight fear or even worry or even slight doubt. Those doubts and fears and worries do not affect what you do moving forward. So this is an optimal state, and it's also feeling that flow, right? When you are alert enough, but also at the same time you don't feel a lot of tense or heaviness. There's some resistance, but you're able to lean into the resistance to actually get what you want done or accomplished. And, this state really is one of the best states to be in. And so, if you would actually take a snapshot of where you are hanging out most during the day, where would it be? For example, you are housed in your body, and there's different rooms for the different states. We've talked about the fight or flight response in one room, shut down and freeze, are part of the dorsal vagal state, and then we have ventral vagal. If you were to have 5 rooms in your body, in your house, which one of these rooms do you hang out with the most? Is it fight? Is it flight? Is it shutdown? Is it freeze? Or is it this wonderful flow state? There is no right or wrong. It's always good to, in any nervous regulation tool, it's always good to first assess to see where you're at. So, which rooms are you hanging out with? If you were to put percentages, definitely reflect on this because this is something that could be your goal, right? This could be your blueprint. If you want to increase your capacity to say, 70%, I want to hang out 70% of the time in my day in this regulated state, then you can have that where you are now and where you want to be vision because our minds work very well with goals. It is a goal seeking mechanism. So you want to assess where you're at and where you want to be, and then go back to the series to actually see where you're at and regulate as necessary. And like I mentioned before, this state is where we are actually very adaptive and resilient. A lot of the times, and I see this a lot in typical nervous system regulation practitioners or practices, it is always about relaxation. And I get that. That is part of it. It's always about calming the system down. But as we know, as humans, there are times when we are down in the dumps, like literally, we are down in the corner. All we want to do is hide and be invisible. And during those times, relaxation ain't gonna do shit, right? When our energies are already low, we need to up regulate instead of do more meditation. That's the square peg round hole. Like that doesn't match. Like if my background is in nursing, and if someone comes and it has a low level of alertness and they're barely breathing and they're breathing very slow, is it a good idea for me to give that client a narcotic to even slow down their breathing more? No, because I might kill them. Like that doesn't make any sense, right? Same thing here. If we're already down in the dumps, relaxation ain't going to do shit. It's all about adding that natural vitality that we have. And in this state is not a relaxed state. This state is an adaptive, resilient, anti-fragile state. This is a state that as humans we thrive to be in. And this is how we were wired to stay in the state, not only feel connected with ourselves, but connect with others. So if we are in a place where we want to run and hide, obviously that is not great for our nervous system as well, because we can actually use co-regulation to our advantage and improve our nervous system that way. And also at the same time, when we're too high up here, we get overly defensive and it gets too cloudy in our brains because there's a lot of things going on in our bodies. There's a lot of inflammatory responses, and really that just wreaks havoc in all of our organs. So we don't want that either. But what we do want is just enough activation. Like I'm talking to you here now on a live. I'm not actually relaxed. My body is calm, but I'm not what I would say relaxed. Why? Because I'm delivering something. I need to have that healthy activation and mobilizing energy in my system to be able to express what I need to express. I need that focus to actually make sure that my thoughts are clear so I can articulate to you what I mean to articulate, right? It's not either or, it's the balance of both. And this is exactly why we really want to see nervous system regulation as not just calming practices, but actually an adaptive practice that is really setting us up for success in our daily lives. Because guess what? Shit is going to happen. It's not a matter of if bad things or stressful things are going to happen to us. Life is full of stressors. We cannot control that. And so we can empower ourselves instead to learn how to adapt to those challenges. How I like to see nervous system regulation work is really preparing us for the real world. It's like training for the Olympics of life and being able to increase our capacity to take on a lot of challenges. As someone who had a fit, fit 4 to 5 years in the past, that was something that was a struggle because I really hadn't learned how to manage these stress levels. And when I was in shutdown a lot, I listened to gurus saying, hey, just relax more. You just do less things because you're shut down. But really, what helped me get out of that was to move my ass. Because in that low state, that became my homeostasis. I am not someone who just lays there like that. Like, I don't understand that. So, that is not who I am, and that's me, right? And knowing that, I knew that, and the conflicting um practices that were encouraged were really not helpful to me, even though intuitively my inner wisdom was like, bitch, get up, get your ass up. We are ready to go. Let's go. Move, move, move. That was what my inner guidance was saying. But guess what? I ignored it. I ignored it for a very long time. And I was stuck there for a very long time. And that was the time in my life where everything fell into shit. My health, relationships, and also my business was shitty. So there came a time when I was like, I gotta do something. I cannot live this way. This is not a great way to live. And so with that decision, that tiny decision to start taking control of my health first, because I was spiraling mentally, emotionally, physically. Like I was the worst shape I've ever been physically. I was an emotional wreck with panic attacks. And mentally, I was just not right. I could not focus on my business because, well, at that moment in time, my thinking brain was off. And now that it's on, I'm like, holy shit, like I'm totally new person. I can see the bullshit from afar. Back then, I didn't, because I didn't prioritize my health, and I only have myself to blame for that because I didn't take responsibility. And so when we can get into this place of actually taking responsibility, it is actually our control. In our control what happens to us, our bodies, and our health. That is when everything changes. That's when I went from being completely exhausted, just working 1 to 2 hours, and now I've been awake for a few hours now. I'm doing a live here. Most of my non-negotiables for my business are already done. And I've exercised, already killed deadlifts, and already done. I got ready. And now I have energy to be able to do more during the day. That shift did take consistency, did take neuroplasticity to start coming out of that state. And that didn't happen through regular relaxation practices. It came from getting my ass up when I fell, and I fell so many times, I still do, and choosing to keep going. This is what adaptability is all about. And most importantly, which is what I hate doing, is resting. I am someone who is go, 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 and I have overridden this mechanism to rest so many times in my life. But now, because I know better, and you learn one way, right? You learn but you learn one way, and learning the fact that it is absolutely okay and necessary to rest, having that balance of, okay, I'm gonna go because this is the goal, this is where we're doing. We've got big plans for world domination. And then at the same time, knowing when to slow down, but not slow down, not stop. Once a thing is in motion, it stays in motion, right? If you completely stop, then you have the more force and more power to start that momentum back. So definitely slow down, and knowing this balance, it's still not perfect, but being able to now balance both and really seeing where the energy levels are at, and control, knowing how to work with it to my advantage. If my energy is low and I want it up, knowing what to do. If my energy is too high and I'm too wound up and I can't concentrate because I'm just like, what? Then knowing to bring that back down to the optimal state where I want to function in at that moment in time is a skill set, and a skill set that can be taught. Because truth is, if we don't have the skill set, we're just going to go back to that cycle of start stop, where we go 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 and then we stop, and do really well, and then once we stop, we get sick, or shit happens, or we get too overwhelmed and then we completely go to shut down, and then it takes months for us to recover. Do you keep wanting doing that? Because I was stuck there too, and that was not fun, and it just felt like absolute garbage, right? So when you're able to just know the pace and increase your endurance, that is when your actual personal development skyrockets, because you are using the power of your own biology. That is why the Nervous System Jumpstart Workshop was created, which is happening in 24 hours. So you got to get in now. It's now or never. Because this is the skill set that you will learn, that you will adapt over time. There, you always have the choice, day one or one day. Which one are you choosing? Knowing that what you do today is what's going to affect you 90 days from now. The results you have today from the shit that you did 90 days ago. Yes. So again, so you can start saying one day, one day, one day, or you can say day one, let's get the shit on the road. Let's take control of my mental, emotional, and physical health, because you have a lot of lives to impact, and that can't be done when your glass is always half empty. And let's increase that capacity so it's more than full, and you can actually give the service that you are meant to give in this world. You are meant to help people, so help yourself first. It's fine to put yourself first, and you will learn exactly how in the neuroplasticity jumpstart workshop, so that you can be of optimal health. You can stay in the state of flow, this room where you have the balance, the solidity, the self-belief, the self-trust. You are who you are. You are authentic and true to who you are, and you can intently focus with whatever task you have at hand because you know exactly what to listen to inside your head and keep going and have that endurance to ensure that you do it for a long term and not just for a short minute of time. Consistently putting yourself first. So then you have an outpour of energy to give to your family, to your loved ones, to your significant other, and to your clients. So I'll see you there. It's just $99, and I'll see you in 24 hours.